Viewers, imagine for just a moment that someone you love the most, your little sister, your child, your best friend, suddenly vanishes. No goodbye, no clue, no trace, just gone. Now, imagine that person isn't just anyone, but the younger sister of a sitting president. This is not a movie. This is the chilling, true story of Aminata Traoré, the teenage sister of Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré, and the shocking chain of events that followed her disappearance. It was March 17th, a normal school day in the capital city, Ouagadougou. At 3:25 p.m., the bell rang and children poured out of Imam Malik School. Among them was 14-year-old Aminata, bright, kind, and deeply loved, especially by her brother, the president himself. Her walk home usually took just 15 minutes, but on this day, Aminata never made it back. CCTV cameras along her route suddenly went dark. Every single one. No images, no evidence, no answers. When her phone went dead and she didn't return home, her mother made a trembling call to the president. "Amina hasn't come home," and her phone is off. Those words cut Ibrahim Traoré deeper than any bullet. He left a high-level meeting instantly, and the city was locked down. By nightfall, soldiers and intelligence officers were everywhere, but it was too late. Even Aminata's own guards had been found unconscious in their vehicle. This wasn't just a kidnapping. This was a message, a brother's agony. That evening, Ibrahim Traoré was no longer the president of a nation. He was simply a brother, desperate, furious, and afraid. His security chiefs delivered the grim report. "Sir, every camera was disabled at the same exact moment. This was planned." For days, there was silence. No ransom calls, no group claiming responsibility. It was as if Aminata had been erased from the world. Then, on the fourth night, the phone rang. The call at 11:30 p.m., an unknown number lit up. The president's phone. He answered. A cold, lifeless voice spoke. "Your sister is alive. If you want her back, you must obey." The demands were shocking. Return the gold mines Burkina Faso had reclaimed. Cancel the uranium deal with China. Stop pushing for African independence. And then, the cruelest threat of all. If you refuse, your sister will soon have a new job in Amsterdam. 14-year-old girls are in very high demand. This wasn't just an attack on a family. This was blackmail against Africa itself. Operation Amsterdam. Traoré refused to kneel. That same night, he made a decision. Rescue Aminata and send a message to the world. A secret mission was born. Operation Amsterdam. No Western help, no press, no politics. Instead, he quietly united the special forces of Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Guinea. Together, they slipped into Europe with one mission: bring Aminata home. Cyber intelligence tracked her final signal to an abandoned building in Amsterdam, a hub for human trafficking. At 3 a.m., when the city slept, Africa moved. Team Alpha slipped in through the back. Team Bravo dropped from the roof. Team Charlie stormed the gates. Room by room, they fought through the darkness, gunfire, and fear. Dozens of young girls were freed. And then, on the third floor, behind a chained door, they found her. On the wall, written in blood, was her name, Aminata. When the soldiers broke through, they saw a frail, terrified girl. She looked at the Burkina Faso flag on a soldier's arm and whispered, "Did my brother send you?" When they told her yes, that the president himself was behind the mission, she smiled faintly and said, "I knew he would come." That night, 47 African girls were rescued, 23 traffickers captured, and mountains of evidence uncovered, exposing the horrifying scale of Europe's child trafficking trade. If the mission had been delayed even a single day, Aminata and the others would have been lost forever. When Ibrahim Traoré finally embraced his sister, her voice trembled, but her words were clear. "They tried to sell us, but I always knew you'd come." Closing viewers, this is more than a story of a president's sister. It's proof that Africa's children are not for sale. If you stand with this message, write in the comments, "Long live Ibrahim Traoré." And don't forget to subscribe, because the world must hear stories like this one. Viewers, earlier, we uncovered the side of Burkina Faso that few dare to imagine, a nation fighting poverty, thirst, and survival, while its people look up to their president, Ibrahim Traoré, as a symbol of courage, simplicity, and resistance. But now, let's step into another world, a world so dazzling, so extravagant, that it feels like it belongs not to a struggling African nation, but to some royal palace of Europe or the Gulf. And at the center of this world stands one woman, Juana Traoré, the First Lady of Burkina Faso. Yes, the same Ibrahim Traoré, known for his military uniform, his honesty, and his promises of justice, has a wife whose lifestyle has left many shocked, speechless, and even angry. So the question arises, how can the wife of a president who calls for sacrifice and revolution live a life dripping with luxury? Is this all hidden from President Traoré himself, or is it happening with his silent approval? Tonight, viewers, we dive deep into this mystery. The world's eyes first fell upon Juana Traoré during a high-profile private party hosted by a wealthy Western businessman. It wasn't just any gathering. Present in that glittering hall were some of the most powerful business icons, fashion magnates, and elites from France, the UAE, and Nigeria. Yet that night, there was only one name on every whispering lip, Juana Traoré. When she walked into the hall, time seemed to pause. Her dress, a custom piece by the world-renowned designer Elie Saab, was said to cost over 28,000 US dollars, nearly 90 million West African francs. On her feet, Versace high heels worth another $3,500. In her hand, a Hermès clutch that alone could feed an entire Burkinabe village for a year. But that was just the beginning. Diamond earrings glittered in her ears, later identified by a Dubai jeweler as pieces worth over $100,000. Every step she took carried the grace of royalty. Every glance reflected a confidence that turned heads. She didn't appear like the wife of a revolutionary president, but rather like the heiress of an ancient empire, and Juana's luxuries do not stop at fashion. In her private garage stand 7 luxury cars, each a dream for the world's richest. Among them, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan Black Badge, valued at nearly $400,000, bulletproof with marble flooring inside, a Lamborghini Urus, a Mercedes G-Wagon Brabus. A Bentley Bentayga reports even suggest that many of these cars are registered outside Burkina Faso, in Dubai, France, and South Africa, perhaps to avoid drawing attention from local media and citizens. But viewers, here's the part that raises even more eyebrows. While hospitals in Burkina Faso struggle without medicine, while rural schools don't even have proper roofs, Juana Traoré's world begins with luxury that ordinary people cannot even dream of. The jewel of her extravagance, a Gulfstream G650ER, private jet, one of the most expensive and advanced business jets on Earth. Its price tag, 70 million US dollars, roughly 1,300 billion West African francs. This jet can fly non-stop for 14,000 kilometers, connecting her to any corner of the globe in one single flight. And inside, pure royalty. Hand-woven Persian carpets line the floor. Seats and sofas crafted from Italian leather, 24-karat gold plating across the cabin, a royal-class memory foam bed in a private bedroom, a dressing room packed with outfits, shoes, and handbags, with at least 20 wardrobe changes on every trip. There's even a cinema room on board, with giant screens, 3D sound systems, and Netflix premium accounts. And she doesn't fly alone. Alongside her are a personal fashion assistant, beauty specialists, and even kitchen staff. Every journey becomes less of a flight and more of a moving fashion show in the sky. But what is this jet used for? According to reports, Juana flies at least 5 times a year to Europe and the Middle East, not for state duties, not for official delegations, but for fashion shows, private shopping sprees, and exclusive events. Paris Fashion Week, Dubai's luxury jewelry exhibition, New York's street-style gala. These are the runways where Juana Traoré lands her jet, while back home, her people struggle for clean drinking water. And the costs? Fuel, staff, maintenance, parking, adding up to nearly $500,000 per trip. Yet no official statement has ever been given about where this money comes from. Neither the government spokespersons nor Ibrahim Traoré himself have openly addressed this issue. And so, in the hearts of Burkinabe citizens, a fire of doubt is spreading. When they look at the sky, they don't just see clouds anymore. They see their leaders' families living in a different world altogether. But Juana's extravagance doesn't end in the skies. Her mornings begin not with the call to prayer, nor with the crowing of a rooster, but with gold spoons and black ivory coffee. Yes, the world's most expensive coffee, produced in Thailand through a rare process involving elephants, costing $150 per cup. A single sip equals a week's wage for an ordinary Burkina Faso worker. Her breakfast table is a spectacle. Organic, avocado toast, drizzled with French olive oil, topped with thin sheets of edible gold. Japanese yubari melons, the world's most expensive, selling for up to $2,000 a pair. Rare berries from New Zealand, figs from Morocco, almonds from Spain, Norwegian salmon, Italian cheese, and egg yolk seasoned with exotic herbs. And all of this is served not on ordinary plates, but on Versace dining ware, each piece worth the salary of a civil servant for 6 months. Of course, Juana doesn't prepare any of this herself. She is accompanied by a private culinary team, a French chef, a nutritionist, and even a plate decorator, whose sole job is to arrange food beautifully for presentation. Her breakfast is not just food. It is a statement, a declaration of status, of untouchable privilege, of living in a world far above her own people. And so, viewers, the question remains, how can a country fighting hunger and poverty afford such excess at the very top? How can the wife of a leader who preaches sacrifice, revolution, and simplicity live with such extravagance? Is this all a personal choice? Or is it a betrayal of the very ideals Ibrahim Traoré is celebrated for? These are the questions Burkinabe citizens are now daring to ask. Because while the people survive on bread and tea, the First Lady dines on gold, diamonds, and luxury. And in that contrast lies the true test of this so-called revolution.